Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of GOAT Quest, and this one is a very special episode. I am joined by our first two-time guest in GOAT Quest history. I don't know what that means to the greatest of all time standings in general, but as far as GOAT guests concerned, it's hard to come around the sun a second time, and you're getting that moonlight, that sweet, sweet moon shadow on Mr. Chad Bush. Chad, it is wonderful to see you.
It's great to be here, brother. And I was starting to feel like it was actually a long time since I've been back.
Yeah.
And now I'm feeling a little more gratuity. So thanks for having me back.
So you were in the quasi first season where we didn't have the cameras rolling.
Audio only.
Yeah, it was audio only, which deprives the audience, quite frankly, of a handsome young man.
I mean, both of us.
A silver fox.
Well, thank you. I mean, both of us.
You're generating hits right now. Johnny behind the glass right now it's going crazy behind the glass, and we're not even running live. So how does that happen? The likes, the appreciation. I love it.
Oh, thank you.
We got a lot to discuss.
Yeah.
It was a big weekend. We've had a little bit of a abnormal start to the season from a GOAT Quest perspective because Thomas Edward Beer,
Number 51.
number 51 of the Detroit Lions, is not with us. He has had some illness issues. They weren't relating to anything about his gender or anything. There's no procedures taking place. Which was a big question because the audience had feelings about whether or not Tom was going to do some kind of reversal of fortune. But he decided to skip this week, as is his right as a GOAT Quest founder. But we're very lucky to have you in his place.
Thank you.
Especially in a week that has been so interesting and tumultuous. So I'm going to start with the NFL. I don't think I remember in this early in the season, right before the anxiety level gets up around the playoffs, a series of games in the National Football League that were so competitive and so exciting almost across the board.
Man. I mean, there was heartbreak. There were overtime ties. There were players celebrating too soon again. How many times is this going to happen?
Yeah. How many times is a guy going to forget that the ball actually has to cross the plane in their possession for the 6 points to go on the board?
At the professional level. And I mean, I'm all about having fun, man. I know you were a Barry Sanders type guy. You scored your 48 touchdowns, 58 touchdowns, whatever you scored, and you handed the ball to the ref. You were old school.
Sign of the cross first.
Sign
Genuflection.
Of the cross, my bad. Okay,
Father,
right.
Son, Holy
Yes.
Ghost. Thank you, Lord, may I have another. That was what I repeated every time I scored. Thank you, Lord, may I have another. And then hand it to the referee in a business-like fashion.
It was business, strictly business. And it was, I remember
Yeah,
the sign of the cross.
40 plus times. Right, so
I was close.
Joe Falls wrote up a nice little commentary about it, but we shall not digress. What you're talking about is Adonai Mitchell and the Indianapolis Colts going into the end zone instead of doing something appropriate like having his own little thoughtful moment and handing the ball to the referee. He decided to start the celebration a half a yard early. Lost control of the football, and what happens when that occurs, Chad, from the official in the box?
It's a touchback.
And
you lose the ball. The ball goes back to the defensive team. It goes out of the end zone. You lose the ball.
20-yard
line. Yeah, not even out at the 1 or 5.
No, it's one of the most punitive things that can happen in any sport. You don't get your 6 points. They get the rock. And they don't just get it on the front porch; they get it out at the 20-yard line.
Yeah, almost a 14-point turnaround.
It's a massive turn, and it ended up being a 14-point turnaround because a few plays later, or not a stretch of time later, a defensive back falls down, and Tutu Atwell is the recipient of a Matthew Stafford bomb that wins the game by 7 points, or else Indianapolis is undefeated.
Yeah.
Let me say that again. Or else Indianapolis would be undefeated right now. That's how strange this season has been.
And how about the day? It all started in Ireland. I know this is close to your heart. What were your thoughts on how Ireland did the NFL?
It was fantastic. I mean, I got up early because I wanted to see the whole Croke Park
Of course you did.
exhibition. For those of you who don't know about Croke Park in Ireland, this is the whole Rule 42 for, 100 years. You could only play Irish Gaelic games on the surface of Croke Park. So that's Gaelic football, right?
Yeah.
For those of you who haven't seen Irish football, Gaelic football, it's a similar game to rugby Australian rules, kind of a cross between you kick it through the goalposts or you can run it in. The hurling, which is kind of like a cross between lacrosse and field hockey.
Okay.
With the big sticks that they run around smacking the ball out of the air. Hard to find a hurling all-star that has all their teeth and doesn't have nice stitches marks like the old goaltenders before face masks in the NHL. That's how hurling is. So those were the games that used to be played in Dublin at the beautiful facility of Croke Park. And then they did decide to reverse that rule and start playing football or soccer games there. And now... because of the Rooney family and their tie to Ireland, Dan Rooney was the ambassador to Ireland.
Okay.
Under Obama, he was the ambassador. The Rooney family first played an exhibition game there against the Bears, I think back in 06 or 07, which the Steelers won. And now again, the Steelers come back in the first game ever played on the surface of the island of Arran. And the Steelers get another victory. A nice football game, too. A-Raj with ayahuasca on his breath, throwing dimes to DK Metcalf. A 70-yard dime. Metcalf went for 126 yards.
Did he really?
And, people thought that his vintage might be a little late in the day. Not so much.
Yeah. It was a little too early. I didn't see it all, I'll be honest, but you saw it. I knew you would get the experience and the start to finish, and it was a great football game. And the Rooneys, that's a good point. The Rooneys, pioneers in the NFL, pioneers in Ireland. I mean, is there a better football-owned family than the Rooneys? Good Irish roots, and they went back to the homeland and did it right.
Yeah. Chuck Noll gets 4 Super Bowls in 6 years, and then Tomlin is the most venerated coach, the longest tenure.
Wow, has he been good?
And he makes the playoffs every year. He's got a winning season every year. Yeah. He's got a couple of Super Bowl rings with Ben Roethlisberger. Now they're trying to re-energize the franchise with some old dogs that are showing they got some new tricks.
Yeah.
Rodgers and Metcalf led the way. On Thursday night, we did have another great game, an interdivision rivalry with Seattle and Arizona. Seattle won by 3 points. Kenneth Walker, Smith and Jigba, Sam Darnold. Seattle, another team that people didn't expect to be, rivaling the top dogs in the NFL, but a team that's loaded. Pete Carroll left to go to the Raiders.
And they didn't miss a beat.
The new guy in Seattle, I think his name is McDonald, but he's a young coach, like so many of them. When you see the handing of the torch in situations like this, I think the same thing when I look at what is happening with the Cleveland Browns. I see the same thing with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville's new coaching staff. Jacksonville all of a sudden is 3-1. People had them left for dead.
He was a little fired up yesterday, wasn't he?
They win by a 1-score game against the undefeated San Francisco 49ers. I mean, but you run down the list here, getting out of that game in Ireland, and all of a sudden you're at 1 o'clock and you got the Detroit Lions flexing offensively again. Jared Goff in full distribution mode. What did you think of the Lions' performance against the Browns?
Impressive. They got back to the roots. John Morton has found his rhythm as a coordinator. The offensive line has found their meshing. They had to mesh together some new dudes, like pretty big. The middle of your offensive line, including your center, is an all-pro. And I was really concerned after week 1, just like I'm sure every Lions fan was. Like, we can't run the football with Sonic and
Knuckles.
But yeah, man, I mean, if we're going to do one thing this year, we were going to run the football. And then week 1, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
And credit Green Bay. But I think this offensive line got it together. And when you can run the football in the NFL and you got 2 healthy backs, and I like their third back too, and they can do so many things. I mean, but establishing that run was critical. And somehow they found it.
Still too many penalties up front. You won't get away with that. The number of penalties, especially from the offensive line in a game against a more competitive team. The Browns have their own issues.
Yeah.
They, again, are in the 40-plus category with their quarterback, Joe Flacco. I'm pretty sure that his rookie year, I was still in high school, and I'm not a young spring chicken anymore. But there was a spring chicken in Atlanta, Michael Penix Jr., who went for 313 yards and got Atlanta a big win against the Commanders.
Man.
I questioned the whole Penix over
I did
Cousins.
Too. He's a winner. He can throw it. He's just a winner. Undersized a bit.
Dijon Robinson in the back. He went for 75 yards. Drake London had over 100 yards receiving.
Yeah.
Buffalo got their win against New Orleans at that 1 o'clock slot. New England finally won a game against Carolina.
Convincingly.
But I want to double click on the next one because Johnny knows that I'm a big fan of the Scataboo.
He's got a little JG in him.
Yeah, well, he's fierce. He's only runs about 5'8", but he's a little thunderball. And the quad sections were in full twerk. But it was Jackson Dart, the rookie quarterback, and the rookie running back Scataboo, who led the way for the Giants in their 21-18 victory over the Chargers. Another undefeated goes down. So again, good football games across the board. How about Philadelphia blocking the kick against Tampa Bay, and then Tampa Bay and Baker Mayfield leading a big comeback, being 1 score down. All these games, just one after another. Yeah. And then finally the crescendo, well, you got 2 big ones in the afternoon. I'll go 3.
Yeah.
4 touchdown passes for Mahomes. Left for dead.
Baltimore.
Right? Left for dead. Baltimore is supposed to. Now, their defense looks tattered.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson goes down. But in the most convincing fashion, Kansas City goes out and reminds you that they're Kansas City, right? When you got Juju Smith-Schuster, Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, and Travis Kelce still playing at a high level, you give Patrick Mahomes some weapons, and my man can deal.
And all that's right, but I think the missing piece there is the defense. The defense is what did them right on Sunday. Like, they kept this club off the charts. I mean, Lamar was uncomfortable even before the injury.
Yeah.
The run game wasn't there with their 6'5", 280-pound back.
Jones is so beastly in the middle. To have a defensive tackle like that you just can't block with one person, that you got to take an extra person on. Karlaftis and that Chanel, I don't know how you'd Chenal, the other linebacker.
Yeah.
I mean, Kansas City's got some dudes. And Spags playing the wizardry, right? That is a strong team. And if anybody is thinking that they are in the rearview mirror now, Kansas City's going to be right in the mix the whole way. Yeah. That's just me talking. Ben Johnson, though, also gets a win. Blocks the kick at the Raiders. He goes into Vegas, rolls the dice, blocks the kick, the game-winning field goal, blocked. Bears win. Caleb Williams, is he figuring it out?
He got the ultimate blessing. Max Crosby went on blast and said, look, this Caleb Williams guy's the real deal. Like, give this guy his props. Everybody has been trashing him. He comes in here and he did work on us. I mean, Max Crosby said it firsthand. A lot of credit to what Caleb Williams has done.
Eastern Michigan's own.
That's right.
Max Crosby.
Eastern Michigan's assistant general manager for Eastern Michigan.
Interesting. I forgot that they're doing that thing now where they put general management in place. Ashton Genty, though, in that game, and this is what I'm talking about, the competitiveness of these games. Even the losing side in these games had Herculean efforts. Genty goes for 3 touchdowns, 138 yards. I said it last year. I talked about Scataboo and Genty until I was blue in the face at the end of the season. These are going to be 2 great professional-ready running backs, and both of them are stepping right into the league and getting it done. Genty is legit.
Yeah, and folks questioned, coming out of Boise and on that blue turf and how competitive it was and would it translate, and the guy doesn't set up well. He sets up, it's unconventional.
Right.
I mean, it's just
Easter Island, the statue. Yeah. He's straight up and
different.
Down. Yeah.
But it works. I mean, they modified it a little bit. The guy can run.
Those little prairies that you see in the field, the honey badgers going after. Yeah, it don't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Just they adjusted his
honey badger don't care.
Honey badger don't give a
That's
bleep.
Right. He don't give a bleep. And then the final coup de grace in the Sunday night special, I was going to tell my wife, too. I was like, oh, my gosh, this is going to end in a tie. Kissing your sister tie. This is going to, when it was over, the way it went down with that last second throw where Jordan Love almost blew it. I said to myself, this is the best tie in the history of football. It was a good tie.
You could accept a tie.
It was a great game.
It's hard to accept a tie in football. It is. At any level.
But that nobody should have lost that game.
Yeah.
They both played their asses off. Love was outstanding. Dak Prescott is at the top of his game. Without CeeDee Lamb, Pickens took it to another level, went way up on the pedestal. I mean, everybody contributed. Micah Parsons saves the game with the sack from behind on Dak.
Fittingly enough.
Big return to the big D, and Parsons pulls a big play like that out of his pocket at the very end because it looked like they had him neutralized. For 3.5 quarters, they did.
Yeah.
And big players show up at big times in big games.
It was an impressive prime time battle. And there's nothing like Sunday Night Football. It's just so well done. But a tie. Like, who's ever been happy with a tie? I think last night everybody was cool with it. And fun to see. Also, from a Detroit Lions perspective and an NFC Central, I'm happy to see a tie.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's fun.
Yeah, you needed that game.
That's a good tie to have.
To lean in the standings.
Yeah.
That's a lean in the standings.
You love seeing a tie when it's your conference competitor.
Yeah, and Amon St. Brown in the Lions game, we probably would be remiss if we didn't mention, what a stellar competitor is. The great block on the Gibbs touchdown, then he gets the benefit of the throw in the flats by Jared Goff. It seemed to me like the Lions did whatever they wanted to. Goff looked like they had control. Special teams were outstanding. The Khalif Raymond return was the big moment in the game. Dan Campbell seemed a little frustrated with the penalties early on, but they cleaned that up. The Lions looked like a team that doesn't have to give you their best game and can still beat you handily like they did last year. So that was refreshing. Again, in the loss, I want to mention, I spent a few series just watching the inhuman being that is Myles Garrett. And he is a manhandling machine. You just have to hold on, pucker up, and gird your loins and hope that he doesn't run through you or tear one of your appendages off.
He was fired up, too. You could tell earlier in the week, the press conference, I mean, he went to bat for his D coordinator, Jim Schwartz, and said, hey, look, Schwartz had some comments that this is an offense that thinks that they can get their way with anybody. And they got their run game figured out, and they're going to run on the number one defense in the NFL. Not a concern. And they did.
Yeah.
And they did. And they got Garrett's best effort and the number one defense's best effort.
They did.
And they just trampled them with their run.
They took their best shot, and Garrett was impressive.
He was.
Even in the loss.
Yes. It's a good defense.
He put a lot of pressure on Goff. I don't know what the total number was at the end. And I don't really know how they keep that stat accurately, because to me, if you run your offensive lineman's back into the quarterback, which for some reason, they don't consider that a pressure when you're pushing somebody, the pocket is timed so tightly. If you took the stopwatch to how long Jared Goff had to get rid of the football and just looked at that from a pressure standpoint, it's Myles Garrett pushing the button every time.
Yeah. And they've got the Lions have the outlets, and they have the game already to check down and guys in open field that can run, make plays, and do all kinds of stuff. But no, fun to see the Lions back to running the football efficiently. Defense was solid. The scare with Hutchinson was a thing, but not a thing.
Did you see everybody holding their breath in the crowd? While they hold their breath, let's us get a quick cheers to you, my friend.
Cheers, brother.
There we
Thanks
go.
for having me. It's fun. Salute. Not every day you get a chance to drink a Fresca.
Ooh. I went Diet Coke, and I just read a story that Diet Coke sends signals to the brain just like sugar does. So I don't know if I'm actually doing myself any favors. I think everything will kill you if you read long enough. Everything will kill you.
Yeah. But Diet Coke will kill you a lot slower than regular Coke.
So, okay. Just making sure that I'm wagering. That's Pascal's wager if you're a philosophy major. That's right. Yeah.
And Fresca is even better than...
We'll go right back to the obscure French mathematician and Blaise Pascal for that one.
Oh, boy.
That's a throwback shout out. Thank you, Orchard Lake St. Mary's Seminary in Theology, for that philosophy minor I had.
That's it.
So,
Tansel.
Don't go there.
Sorry, Mr. Stone.
The next two pieces of the puzzle for us, though, take us in the other direction, quite frankly. Yes, your Detroit Tigers are playing October baseball, but they're not playing it in the fashion, demeanor, or location that we hope. The definition of backing into the playoffs is the massive skid mark that the Tigers left on the month of September in Major League Baseball. Those are underwear that they want to throw away.
Skiddy, dark, deep, and dirty. I don't know, man. Disappointing, no doubt. This is a team that tanked. It's hard to understand it. They went through a tank mid-year, remember? And everybody was...
Deep breath.
Deep breath. They came back, and they proved that they could get back on track, and they did.
Over 500, not great anymore, but over 500 the rest of the way until
the
September.
collapse. They're limping in. I believe it is refocus time. It's refocus time. And when you have Scooble and you're going on the road, you feel confident. And confidence is key. And this is a division opponent that's had their way, that came and got the Tigers. So they got some momentum, so to speak. But the Tigers feel like they had this the whole way. And they feel like they can still get what they want ahead of them. They're not playing at home. How much is home field in baseball? I think it's the worst home field of any of the four major sports from an advantage standpoint. I don't think it's big.
I can buy that.
Travel's not a long ways.
You haven't won me over, but you're getting there. Keep going.
I think this is enough to get the Tigers refocused. Whereas if they cruise into this thing and they're win it by 9-10 games like they should have, maybe they're not as sharp. Maybe they're not as focused. I think there's something to be said with a chance to refocus yourself. We'll see. It's disappointing. Doesn't take away the disappointment, but there's a chance still.
You're building a case. Let me retort. I love Scooble, and I think Mize can get it done. The problem is neither of them can get out of the sixth inning, right? Which means your bullpen is going to play a factor. Scooble's early season miraculousness of getting into the 7th, 8th, 9th inning, that hasn't happened in a long time.
Yeah.
He's had trouble getting out of the 6th. So when I look at these relievers, we thought Finnegan was the solution. And I still think he's a hell of an upgrade for us. But Canely, Holton, Herder, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing the consistency. Yes, they still have good stuff, but it's hittable stuff. And the Guardians are the one team that puts bat to ball. They are a contact team. AJ Hinch, with all the aggressiveness of his philosophy, against the Guardians, he runs himself out of some innings with that aggressiveness. And when you got a contact team that's just, look at that game the other night. They went down 3 runs in the 10th and scored 4 in their half of the 10th to win this thing.
Yeah, like
this is a resilient team that puts bat to ball. Stephen Kwan is an MVP to me. And I know you look at that batting average and you go, Joe, how can 270s hitters be in the MVP? Hey, 270s hitters are about as good as you get now in Major League Baseball.
It's top level.
It's ridiculous how poor the batting averages have been. Now, I've heard people say, well, it's because of all the specialists, the pitchers now. They're going matchup to matchup, righty on righty. They're making tweaks that they never made in the past. Come on. Do you honestly think that Pete Rose or Tony Gwynn would hit under 300? It's the fascination with the long ball. It's the fascination.
Swing plane, upwards.
The Guardians get runners on base, and you get enough runners on base, and then you get the ding. I don't know if the Tigers have enough consistency up and down the lineup to keep getting runners on base, and I don't know if those middle relievers can get it to Will Vest.
And Gavin Williams has been solid for Cleveland. He's beaten the Tigers his last 2 starts. He goes against Scooble, so he's got some confidence. But you're right. Scooble needs to stop going for the strikeout, pitching more to contact, and watching that pitch line and the pitch count. Can't we do something about it?
Yeah.
Can you not just throw? I know it sounds remedial, and I'm some dude, that came in on a podcast.
You had Lakes Athletics. I'll tell you what, Pat Bush had an empire. He had an empire in Lakes Athletics. You got some experience, all right? You came from a family tree of baseball people. Damn it.
Did you? So, yeah, man. There's something there that I don't know. You just think that they would adjust the strategy in pitching so you don't have to get to that bullpen you mentioned that can be a gas can at times.
I look at so much success early on, and they're like the drunk at the bar who did all the shots at the beginning of the night, right? They did all those shots, and you know what ends up happening?
Talked to all the girls.
Yeah, and everybody was beautiful, and they were the life of the party. Mm-hmm. You know what ends up happening at the end of the night? They get sick all over themselves. Yeah. And they got sick all over themselves in September. That's what I fear is going to be an extension into this Cleveland escapade.
Yeah, it's concerning, man. Something tells me the Tigers, they just maybe because of what they did last year and the way that they came on late. I think AJ has a way of getting this team to focus in a small, short series. I think he coaches well. I think there's also rumors of him maybe going back to Houston. I think it's important for him to do well in the series to get that opportunity. It's a big one. But the Tigers disappointing, and what happens next if they do get past it? Like, what happens? Toronto and Seattle? That seems like a gift, doesn't it?
It does. I look at Toronto and Seattle, and I'm like, how did these two teams get the bye? We smacked them around. I mean, I know Seattle got the best of us in that last series, but we smacked them around early in the season. They did not have what we thought they had. They were not who they thought we were.
In New York and Boston, that's always a scare. They're on the other side of the bracket. You know, wouldn't see them till down the line. Let them beat up on each other.
Let's move from one collapse to another, if you will, and that is the American journey into the Ryder Cup, where once again the Americans leave more than one thing to be desired, a 15-13 loss. They made a valiant effort. With all their might, Scheffler finally gets a win over Rory. You know, there were a few bright spots. I know DeChambeau, you know, he made a run. The big headline, though, is going to be the behavior of the fans.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So, tell me what your take is on what we're reading is, in 100 years, the worst behavior on a golf course.
I think Bethpage Black and Farmingdale, New York, just saw a performance by the fans that they haven't seen in a golf major or any kind of major event. And we'll talk about major events. It's just conduct. I mean, look, we know in golf.
It's a major gift, major award.
It's a
from Christmas Story.
Major gift.
This is just a major award.
It's a major award.
Yeah, it was.
This is one where you just, like golf, you have to have etiquette. We know that it's a little different.
It's like a gentleman's game.
Yeah, like you and I might go get fast food. We might get, Taco Bell sauce all over.
Is there a chance that the recent premiere of the Happy Gilmore movie inspired these fans to be jackasses to the nth degree?
Adam Sandler doesn't dress well, doesn't create social awareness well.
I'm trying to figure out.
Sorry, you're trying to find a pulse. I know you're struggling with it.
I'm struggling with it, right?
What do you make of it?
I don't want to get political, right?
Okay.
But the tension and the politics in America right now, the looking down our noses at the Europeans that comes right from the White House, that the Europeans are useless and that they don't contribute, and that NATO and all the United Nations and all these people are against us, and nationalist, USA. Sometimes I just think, that's not what this is all about. This is about sportsmanship and being above the pettiness of that type of divisive contention. When you lose, you should lose with class. And when you win, you should win with the appropriate level of exaltation, right? Nothing more, nothing less, the appropriate level of exaltation. And that is exactly what the Europeans did. If you watched them, they didn't flaunt. They weren't running around like Happy Gilmore, riding the putter like a pony. They were acting appropriately throughout, even what Rory had to deal with.
Rory had a little outburst, but understandable.
They're screaming during his backswing. They're screaming at Lowry while he's putting.
Yeah.
While he's putting. That's like a Noonan from Caddyshack, Chad.
No. Shut up. No.
I mean,
No, it's not right. It's not right, especially in golf. Like, it's one thing in baseball, football, certain etiquettes there. It gets looser. Soccer. Golf and tennis. Like, could you imagine that happening in tennis?
No.
Like McEnroe would go in the stands and square up on somebody.
No.
So no, it's not cool. I mean, the heckling's.
I hate to say this. I mean, I know it helps that he's an Irishman. I'm glad Lowry drained the putt to clinch that the cup was going back to Europe. He and Rory had to deal with the most. Quite frankly, I'm glad. I'm glad it went down the way it did, because when you don't exhibit sportsmanship, you should feel the pain of that.
And now, what's the PGA Tour have to say about all this?
Interesting, right? Who steps up? I thought LIV was supposed to be the wild side of golf, right? Everybody criticizing LIV. By the way, LIV pulled off a beautiful event here in Plymouth.
Yes,
it was absolutely outstanding. Got a chance to go over there. Shout out to Tim Codd for those tickets to get into the LIV Green Room event. It was wonderful. Class act all the way around. Now we show up and the PGA is governing over the Ryder Cup at Bethpage, and it was a mess, a nightmare.
Yeah, there needs to be a statement, doesn't
there? A reckoning?
Yeah. The heckling was a lot, and Henley lost out to Lowry, and the Americans lost out in many ways. But yeah, 15-30. They did make it interesting. It was fun to at least have them rally on Sunday.
Yeah,
to make this watchable.
A great weekend for sports because it was competitive. There was drama. All this stuff just plays into it, right? Like next year, the Ryder Cup's going to be even more fascinating. What are they going to do in Europe? Are they going to do the same thing? Are they going to try to Americanize their insults and slurs? It'll be all, it does, it soups things up. I don't really like the Kardashians entering sports, which is what I feel like this is, car crash television. Yeah. But it is going to stir things up, which takes us to college football. In one of the more bizarre turns of events, you are looking at an SEC, the Granddaddy Conference.
You
right?
were looking live.
Yeah. The SEC, no blue bloods at the top. Ole Miss, the Fighting Kiffins, 5-0. Missouri, out of the Ozark Mountains comes the Missouri Tigers at 5-0.
Wow.
Vandy, the perpetual doormat of Nashville, Tennessee's accommodations in the SEC. Usually you go into Vanderbilt, you just chalk it up as a win. Yeah. Vanderbilt is 5-0. Oklahoma, new entrant into the SEC last year.
You love this one.
Love that they're 4-0. Mateer is out. We'll see if they can keep it up.
It's big.
I think they've got Kent State this week, so I think we'll be all right there.
Flashes.
But Texas A&M 4-0, and a big win for Texas A&M over Notre Dame on their resume. So yeah, the Alabamas, the LSUs, the Tennessee, the Georgia, the South Carolina, the Texas, everybody's got a loss or more.
I think Alabama has been disrespected. They had that loss, and I think the head coach has taken quite a bit of heat. And I think Kalen DeBoer is going to have his fans back in his corner after he keeps doing things like he did, knocking off Georgia. This is a good team, a good coach. The expectations there were too high. I mean, Alabama, not one of those undefeated teams, but you can throw them at the top. They're going to show out this year.
I'm glad you brought it up because a lot of people have been down on DeBoer and the post-Saban era at Alabama. Fowler brought up something really interesting during the broadcast. You probably heard it. He said, and this was about halfway through the third quarter, everybody forgets DeBoer is 7-1 against top 10 teams. That's almost impossible. For those of you who are just casual football fans, to go over 500 against top 10 teams only happens to a rarefied number of coaches like Nick Saban. In the history of football, you only find 5 or 6 guys that are over 500. This guy's 7-1, now 8-1 against top 10 opponents.
It's a great number, and I did not see that. He's an easy target. He is not Nick Saban. This is a passive man. He's a family man. He's a God-fearing man. I know Kalen DeBoer from working with him at Eastern Michigan when he was the offensive coordinator.
Wow, I forgot about that.
I've sat in a lot of hotels with him, talked to him. He is a very, very humble, kind, passive man that is a football wizard and a very good communicator. He's really good, but he's an easy target. He's not Nick Saban. He's not a dictator. He's not going to stand up and hard-ass you.
Interesting.
He's just a very easy target.
So you think that the presentation of him as not a fire and brimstone guy has cost him a little bit in the media, but it'll pay dividends in the long run?
Agree. Yeah, that's it. That's it. He's an easy target to take a shot at. And you mentioned his record, and I know he had the early loss, but he's got players. And also, I mean, now that everybody's able to get paid in the Saban era,
Hey, Oklahoma too, baby. We were the first ones. We were the pioneers of paying players. All right? We've been paying players for decades.
The Crimson and Cream Club? Are you kidding?
Bud Wilkinson? The parties in the 1950s? You kidding me? I'll bust out the Rolodex right now. We'll start calling guys that are in nursing homes talking about the parties they were throwing. You kidding me? Norman, Oklahoma? Last in education, first in football? Are you kidding me?
I'll never forget when Cameron Binion came back from his visit at Oklahoma, and all he wanted to talk about was the Crimson and Cream.
Oh.
And his visit with the Crimson and Cream.
Owen Field.
Didn't watch a lick of the football game and asked him about his visit. He just had a good old time. He said he had chaperones and he had all kinds of
Did he meet the Swits?
Hospitality.
The man himself, Barry Switzer? Did he meet the Swits? That might have been the Gibbs era when he came in, or even John Blake or Schnellenberger when Binion was coming out. There were John Blake, Howard Schnellenberger.
Yeah.
Before we got to the Bob Stoops era. Big game, Bob. God, that 2000 national championship just rocks my world. All right, so Mississippi State, Jeff Lebby, they got their first loss finally. Tennessee went in there to Starkville, and tough place to win, got to win. But hats off to Lebby for getting Mississippi State. He's already got twice as many wins as they had last year, already this year with his 4 wins. South Carolina got back on the good foot in the SEC. Georgia took a beat. LSU took a beat. Your Kalen DeBoer Bama team is back right in the thick of things. And then those 5 that we mentioned, with the biggest one being Ole Miss, who took out Brian Kelly, and Kiffin looks like he's got a pretty nice runway. Vandy goes to Bama. Undefeated versus 4-1. That's going to be real interesting. Or 3-1. That's going to be an interesting football game. You wouldn't have had that on your bingo card early in the season either, would you? No. Vandy coming in as not a favorite, but as the better team in the standings. So let's go to the Big Ten before we jump off into our list. And by the way, our list is going to play into all this because the GOAT list of the day is the fan experience. Mm-hmm. And there is no fan experience like college football fan experiences in my personal vantage point. So you had some good ones. In the Big Ten season, the whiteout is one of those fan experiences that everybody has on the bucket list, right? I want to go to College Park, Pennsylvania, which is a made-up city. It's
Happy Valley.
Yeah, Happy Valley, like Harrisburg. Yeah. It's like kind of out in the middle of nowhere. It's really a town that Penn State built. There's like one road going in. Everybody bitches about the traffic.
I stayed at bed and breakfast. I didn't know if I was going to wake up in the morning with my head on, but carry on.
So the whiteout at Penn State, it was phenomenal atmosphere. I mean, just watching it on TV, I had the surround sound going, the flashing strobe lights. I mean, I got Georgia and Alabama on one TV. I got Penn State, Oregon on the other. The Ducks coming in to Happy Valley. James Franklin trying to get this massive behemoth off of his back, this monkey on his back of not being able to beat a top-ranked team, which they have never done anywhere, home or away.
They need DeBoer.
Franklin got it in the mouth again, Chad. What does this mean to his program?
He's going to keep getting top 5 recruiting classes because he can recruit his tail off, but I don't know. There's just not a culture built that believes they can win big games.
Now, I thought that McSorley was this character, Tate McSorley. I never thought that Aller had that pluck. He has like kind of a fake tough guy. Like when Franklin said in the pregame, oh, he's coming in with an edge tonight. I was like, yeah, all right. I've seen these guys that come in with an edge and you punch them in the nose and they start crying, right? I mean, there's a different kind. Like Tate McSorley seemed to me to have a little bit of a real world swagger.
Yeah.
Right? A Baker Mayfield swagger. Mm-hmm. You got to have that. Right? I mean, you got to be the kind of leader that the offense rallies behind. And you saw Brock Aller give you exactly what you thought he was going to give in overtime at the end of that football game.
Yeah, it's just not a winning football program. And when it comes to the way that they're going to play football in the Big Ten, I think they just don't play it the way that Big Ten football is supposed to be played. You've got to rely on get back to old roots of Penn State. They've gotten cute. They've gotten guys that are sexy recruits. They've gone for, I think they need to get a little deeper into the character. There's something there. Back to the mashed potatoes and gravy. Back to the Salisbury steak and lemonade. Get yourself old school Penn State. Get tough. They're not tough.
What they didn't have the balls to do, and I'm going to say balls instead of guts. Okay, because I
like that.
I mean testicular. All right. What they didn't have the testicular fortitude to do in that game was to run the football down their throat. 4 downs, 4 downs, 4 downs. One of the things I really appreciated about Jim Harbaugh, and I'm not a huge Harbaugh fan, but what I really appreciate about Jim Harbaugh is Jim Harbaugh was always going to take exactly what you were giving him. Mm-hmm. He'll run the ball 117 times in a row if you're still giving it up. He's got no ego when it comes to that. Mm-hmm. He doesn't need to spread. J.J. McCarthy had games where he had, 14 attempts, 12 attempts. Jim Harbaugh would say, you know what? If something works, We're going to do it. And James Franklin doesn't have those testicles. He doesn't have the guts. And he and his offensive coordinator won't just take, they figure, oh, we got all these weapons. We got to use them. We got to spread it around. There's only one ball. Everybody's got to get into the game.
Keep those 5 stars happy, Joe.
Exactly. And that's not how you win Big Ten football.
Yeah.
You don't win Big Ten football by looking at gaps and not filling gaps. Right? If somebody's going to give me an opening, I'm going to take that opening. If they would have done that, I think that they could have seen a different fourth quarter. They did make the nice comeback, but I think they could have had a fourth quarter where it was just complete domination and they wouldn't have had to worry about overtime.
Deep in the Big Ten, they're in the bottom third of the league in rushing. It's just...
Do you see Lanning after the game?
I missed it, no.
Dan Lanning after the game was so passionate, so emotional. I said to myself, well, there's the Big Ten coach. Not the old school Big Ten, not the old, the grinders, not the, 3.5 yards in a cloud of dust. Dan Lanning and the Oregon Ducks were the meat and potatoes team. Yeah. Total role reversal. Lanning's got personality. He's embedded it in that team. I've said this time and time again. I'll say it again. When it comes to the crunch time, in college football more than any other sport, the team will take on the personality of its head coach. In the big moments, the team will take on the personality of its head coach. And Dan Lanning's personality won the day. That's how they played.
Yeah, I like that. And he's got a Detroiter from Detroit King High School, and Dante Moore, who's his quarterback, who we've been waiting to see. Started at Oregon, left, went to UCLA, played a little bit, finally came back. And this kid's doing great. I mean, he's third in the Big Ten in passing.
He was Mr. Football in Michigan in 22?
He was Mr. Football in 22, correct? And then he's been, again.
PSL Player of the Year, Mr. Football. I mean, this was the guy.
Great young man. I've interviewed him 3-4 times. We've covered him 6 times on the prep. I mean, this is a guy that's really good. We knew he could do it both. He's cerebral.
He looked unflappable.
Yeah, he is.
Is that how he played in high school? I didn't get a chance to see him at King.
Very, yes, unflappable, and a guy that's a good leader, and a guy that's just calm, cool, can run it, two-way guy, can throw it.
What I thought was dangerous about him is how many times he throws off his back foot, but it doesn't seem to. It's kind of like Caleb Williams at moments, right? Yeah. Some of these guys, Dan Marino, I mean, Dan Fouts, Dan Fouts didn't even stop his back pedal to throw the ball. So I'm not knocking him. But, the Tom Brady's of the world would say, oh, it's about the feet. You got to get him set. This kid's feet are not set, and he's still winging it.
Yeah, Dooley was his quarterback coach, the famed Detroit quarterback guru, Donovan Dooley. I think he's got too much athleticism. He's so twitchy. His form and some of his things
he can get away with it.
He can get away with it.
Yeah.
He's got that extra gear in him. And by the way, the arm is plus, so he can get away with some things like that. But I just like him as a leader, as a kid. I mean, his numbers right now, 14 touchdowns, 1 interception.
Huge, huge, huge. Oregon is definitely tops in the Big Ten. They put a strong claim to that. Ohio State has been equally impressive. Mm-hmm. I would still put Oregon above them right now just for body of work.
Yeah, you're moving them ahead of what the national rankings have.
I would put Oregon ahead of them.
Okay.
I love the Texas win, but Texas hasn't looked good in several games. I didn't think they were as good as Penn State coming in. So
quarterback's a problem.
We'll see how that plays out. Indiana, though. How about the Sig Nasty? What's he doing in Bloomington? What happened? I mean, everybody thought that this would be at least a semi coming down to
kind of hokey. Like, how long is it really going to last?
Right. At least a little back step. He may have taken a step forward. The defense is playing better. Look what they did to Illinois. That was I know it was a fake top 10.
Yeah.
Right. Illinois was not a real top 10.
Right.
Right. Early season, Bielema getting the benefit of the doubt. But he smacked him. He curb stomped him. It was a beatdown.
He's creative. He's kind of the anti-Harbaugh, right? I mean, this is a guy that just wants to get creative, cute. He'll keep picking at things, but he wants to keep you off balance. He wants to show how cuckoo he is in a positive way that gets his guys to rally behind him.
But what I love about Cignetti's teams is that when you think there's going to be a letdown, so they go and they do the number on Illinois, and you think, oh, well, here's the Iowa. Ooh, now you got to go to Iowa and play that.
Yeah, nobody wins there.
No, yeah, that's the one that you definitely think there'll be a letdown. He goes in and he smacks him again. And Mendoza, he doesn't even have to play. He's a good manager of a football game and a good crunch time quarterback. Mendoza's a legitimate candidate in the Heisman Trophy race now.
Wow.
And Surratt, the wide receiver, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right.
Yeah.
Surrat.
Good enough.
The kid has got juice. He goes up and gets it. I'm worried about Indiana. If I'm Michigan and Michigan State, Indiana on my schedule now is like, WTF, another team is good in this conference?
Yeah.
And they're going to stay good? I thought maybe it was a blip on the radar. They're going to stay good. As long as Sig Monasty is there, they are going to be good.
I love it when big-time schools, Power 4 schools go out and they find that guy that's been doing it at Division II, Division III, or 1AA, whatever the hell they call it now, and they go get him, and he comes in, and you're like, yeah, okay. He's the guy. Like, he brought him in. I know they have money at Indiana. They got a lot of it.
John Cougar Mellencamp and Mark Cuban. Those are the two guys. Those guys funding Indiana.
It's a lot of money. It is a lot of money.
Mark Cuban and John Cougar Mellencamp.
Yeah, there's a lot of money there. They are giving it. They are in the top tier of NIL, but how much of that's going to Indiana football? How much has gone to Indiana football?
Interesting.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
But give Sig some credit.
So the big house was empty due to the bye week. Michigan State, same. We're going to have to transition here because we got to get into the GOAT list. As we think about the GOAT list, we mentioned the whiteout as being a Big Ten experience. There are a lot of great college football to go between the hedges at Georgia, going into that orange crush at Tennessee and Knoxville.
Clemson Rock.
The Clemson Rock, the Rose Bowl, right? Going out and playing at the Rose Bowl, USC, UCLA. There's these great experiences in college football. But for you, as you kind of build your way up, let's start with the more obscure sports and move our way into the Big Four. Best fan experiences, the GOAT debate.
I'm going to start low, and I'm going to say the Indy 500 and the NASCAR 500.
I got a buddy, Gary Cousineau. If he's listening, Gary, he is my Indy 500 guru. He will tell you that there is so much fun to be had at the Indy 500 that you should probably just check yourself into jail early on in the weekend. Just check yourself in so they can get to know you, so they'll treat you right when you end up back in there.
They say it's a wild party. I mean, it's more, I think it's a Southern thing, an Indiana thing more so, but Michigan gets involved. I mean, these guys hang out for like 3 days.
Roger Penske sure gets involved, a good Michigander. Yeah. He gets involved at a very high level in that Indy 500.
Yeah, there's like the blue collar one, which is NASCAR, and then you got kind of the Indy, which is
NASCAR's Daytona, right? That's the granddaddy of them all, I guess. Now they got the Cup Series and the Cup Championship. Shout out to Christopher Bell, who gave us that great experience. The brother-in-law of Eric Burton, he's one of the top drivers, had another win here recently.
Cool.
So big shout out to Chris Bell. But when you look at these big racing events, it is the atmosphere. You can shop for every damn trinket and tchotchke that the world has ever invented at these things.
Yeah, that's more like you're going there for the party, right? Like that's when like my wife goes to the Lions game. She's there to hang out, tailgate.
Is Cole Trickle still driving? Is Cole Trickle in any of the events still?
No, but Dick is.
Tom Cruise. Cole Trickle, I think, or was it Rowdy Gaines? Rowdy Gaines was the one that I was thinking. He was my favorite. Yes, the NASCAR event is what it's about. Watching somebody go around in circles and turn left for a few hours is not the same as the atmosphere and the noise. But I'll tell you what, being in the pits, again, Joe Gibbs Racing and Chris Bell, when we were down there watching the pit stops, 10 feet away from us, it was high energy. You could feel the heat, the wind, the heat from the car coming in, and the smells of the track. It's almost like sensory overload. Like it's a little bit much. I was like, I might stroke out. I might have one of those COVID strokes that they keep saying is a thing, right? One of those vaccine strokes. I don't know, right? I'm not a.
Talk about all the senses, the smell,
Who knows?
The noise.
I can't make sense of this country.
I could do the noise.
So yeah,
okay.
Kentucky Derby is in that same
that's a
group.
good one.
Kentucky Derby's in that same group of racing events. This is a race where you're on top of an animal, controlling an animal as a jockey, not a driver. But the Derby is also one where many people get arrested.
It's a party.
Many people transgress at a high level. Is that a phrase?
Yeah.
Transgress?
I think so. The race is how long? Average. 2 minutes?
5 minutes? 4 minutes? 3.5 minutes?
it.
Something like that.
It's done.
It's over. But they're wearing beautiful hats.
And beautiful dresses.
Mint juleps.
Yeah.
Sip, sip, nudge, nudge.
Fun drinks.
Yeah. I'm not sure everybody's wearing undergarments. I think a lot of people are going Kung Fu Rambo. I don't know what's happening. It's hard to tell the madness that ensues at these events.
Yeah.
So that gets us into on the lower cards. Hit me.
Wimbledon.
I used to get up at like 5 o'clock in the morning.
I mean, it's kind of a thing. Not in the U.S. as much.
Just to see Chris Everett. Really? Tracy Austin, Chris Everett. Yeah.
Jennifer Capriati.
Oh, don't. Sharapova and Kornikova.
Kornikova.
Yeah.
Sergei Fedorov's better half.
And of course I digress, right? Immediately into the beautiful women of the World Tennis Association's
No doubt.
women's division, but loved the Borg. McEnroe, just got a chance to meet John McEnroe at an event out in Colorado.
Really?
He gave a great speech, had a little panel. He was fantastic, very funny. But when it was McEnroe, Connors, Lendl, Borg, when those were the big four, and then you had like guys like Stefan Edberg and Mats Wilander come in there, that to me was like the best era of tennis.
90s, mid-90s.
Yeah. Not to throw any shade on Agassi and Sampras and Chang in that era, and then moving on to Nadal and Federer and Djokovic.
Yeah,
I mean, we have been blessed in our lifetime to really almost seamlessly throughout the last 3 or 4 decades have great rivalries in men's tennis. So good call out on Wimbledon.
Thank you. Any other lower cards?
I'm gonna give you you got the World Cup. I have seen World Cup soccer.
Yeah.
They call it football. We call it soccer. You know, it's hard for me to think it's a sport if only one guy can touch the ball. That's a whole nother thing.
It was in Pontiac in 1994.
I was there, and when they put the sod was coming up, and it was ridiculous. Premier League, though, I would like if somebody can chime in on the comment threads. Tell us what I think Manchester and Man City. I think that's a big one. I know Arsenal is a huge rivalry with other clubs. Somebody chime in and tell us what the biggest rivalry is, because I want to go over to the UK and I want to stay for like a 10-day period where I get to see 2 of these.
Yeah.
I want to see 2 of these insane matchups.
You want to be a hooligan, don't you?
I don't want to be a hooligan. I don't want to get unruly. I told you, decorum.
It's okay in soccer.
But I want to sing the songs and drink the ale. And I want to be a part of the crowd marching down the street from the pub to the stadium. I want to do the whole deal.
Let's go.
I want to get into some Premier League action. Because I've heard the events are just amazing, right? So Premier League is a bucket lister for me. And that kind of takes me into the big ones.
Okay.
Where do you start your Mount Rushmore or your top 5 when we get into marquee sporting events that are the fan experience?
Are we still working our way up? Because I'm at like 10, I think.
If you got a couple more you want to hit before you hit the Mount Rushmore.
Final Four NCAA.
You're at that staging area. What do they call that? The base camp. You're at base camp right now. We're not on Mount Rushmore. We're not going up Kilimanjaro yet.
Final Four NCAA basketball.
Oh, it was awful. You and I know we can debate this one. Let me give you the problem. Ladies and gentlemen, before you go waste your money on going to the Final Four championship games, figure out what the venue is. Because if it's a football stadium, like they have been doing recently, these seating charts lie to you. They are complete garbage and useless because they can move that basketball court to a corner of the end zone to try to make one side preferential to the other side, or they can leave it in the middle where both sides of the mezzanine level are way too far away from the court. I have done this. I have made the mistake of paying money for the mezzanine first row, which is a top dollar ticket, and you're still way too far away from the court. If you don't have floor seats or you're within 25, 30 rows of the court, I say it's a pass. I'd rather watch it on TV.
Good points. I did go to the Atlanta Final Four that Michigan was in, I think circa 2010, 2011. And my team was in it that I was rooting for. So there was some extra oomph there.
Yeah,
Wichita
always.
State was in it.
Always, if it's your squad.
Right. So it meant a little different. And not that I'm a Walmart Wolverine. It's not like I went there or played there. But still, I was, emotionally attached to the game.
Two massive factors that we have to preface this with. Is your team in it? Because then it's next level.
Yeah.
And is it game 7? Or is it the last game?
Right. Final Four is
the thing.
There's 3 games, right? So, I mean, if you go and your team played in the semis and you sat a mile away, shitty experience.
Exactly.
If your team went, you won it all, and you stayed out all night every night and met a lot of fun people. It was the best time of your life. There's certain elements there that makes it tricky.
I'm a big hockey fan, so I'll throw in, again, at the bottom, I'll throw in the Frozen Four. I love college hockey.
Big time. College
hockey with the Frozen Four, I think, is fantastic. Hockey's just an amazing experience. It's such a tight, the stadiums, the rinks, the arenas are smaller. The action is more intense in those smaller environments. So I'm going to give the Frozen Four a college hockey shout out.
That's a good call.
In the mix there. But my number 5, if I'm going to actually hit my list, I told you I've been to World Series games, mixed emotions about the World Series. I was there for a loss of my home team. So
2006.
But it was St.
Cardinals.
Louis, yeah. But the big one for me is Tigers opening day. So I start number 5 with the Detroit Tigers opening day. It means so much to me because of family experiences. It's always so much, and it's always weird because the weather could be terrible. You always feel
usually
tough.
Terrible.
Yeah, you have to be tough to get down there for Tigers opening day.
Maybe a little numb.
Yeah, so a lot of it's indoors. So sometimes you get souped up when it's indoors, right? Sometimes the libations are flowing.
Yeah.
Always fun for the Tigers opening day, but that's just a personal one for me. What's your number 5?
My number 5 is going to be NBA Finals, which again, I know it's a series, so it's kind of tough to say, but I believe, let's call it a game 7.
This NBA, is this the sport where the referees decide every game now? Is that depending on how they check?
Or LeBron James.
Depending on how they call the game, that's how the game is going to be won or lost. I have my issues with the NBA, but I'm excited about these Pistons.
I'm talking about the 1989 NBA.
Bickerstaff has got this thing revved up, right? So this is the kind of year, like we get into October and the Wings are playing their preseason and the Pistons will start, and they got the G League souped up. The Prep, Chad Bush's Prep Sports Media Network, G League broadcasts for the Pistons. These guys end up in the league, bro.
Yeah.
These G League guys end up circulating into the league. It happens every year.
Yeah, it's happening this year. 3 of the guys will go up. The 3 guys that were two-way guys from a year ago. Smith, the center, the big guy at Mississippi State, and then DJ Dennis Jenkins, the guard, is going to be in the rotation, fourth guard. And then, you'll have some other guys in the mix there. But NBA Finals, when they were in Detroit, in 2006.
Bad Boys. And Bad Boys Part 2.
Right, Part 2, or 2004.
Rashad,
they beat the Lakers.
Rip.
Like
Chauncey.
You remember, even just going to the bars or going out or watching the games. I mean, everything. It brought back all those feels from the 89 and 90 teams.
Best defensive team in the history of the NBA.
Right.
The second vintage of the Bad Boys.
Yeah. Yeah. Team
Larry Brown.
Expected.
Number 4 is the Stanley Cup. It's especially the Stanley Cup when it goes to a Game 7. All right, so again, that caveat, nice. But the Stanley Cup, again, I told you, the intimate experience. Obviously, in Detroit, we were blessed with the Colorado Avalanche rivalry with the Detroit Red Wings. Also a nice little rivalry with the Devils in those Stanley Cup wins. Hockey town exploding. Obviously, it's been a long time since my Toronto Maple Leafs, another team that I am a big fan of, got into a Stanley Cup. I think we're talking 1967. I would love to see a Toronto Maple Leafs Cup, but the Red Wings Cups were amazing.
They were, and we were spoiled. I mean, what do we have, 20 years of playoffs for the Red Wings? I mean, the playoffs are just taken for granted.
Mr. I, Jimmy Devellano going right into the Ken Holland era. Just fantastic. Scotty Bowman.
Yeah, fun stuff. My 4 is the Ryder Cup.
Ooh. Went to Oakland Hills. I know our former headmaster, I think he rented his house and paid for his mortgage for like 2 years off of a 1-week rental.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah. They made those people with houses over there. Michael Jordan had a house, and I guess they screwed up the carpet, and he recarpeted and reupholstered everything in the place at the end and paid ridiculous amount of money for the house.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's a big event. It only happens, every so often, and it was here, so it was relevant. I just remember the hype, the Tiger Mania. Luke Donald was there, all these guys from Europe, too. It was a special scene, Bernard Langer and many others.
My number 3, you're going to feel like, wow, that's early for this, but my number 3 is the Super Bowl. I have been to Super Bowl festivities. I have not been in the stadium for the game. For me, the Super Bowl party is so much fun that the trade-off for the amount of money that the tickets cost me versus the experience that I'm missing at one of the epic parties is a trade-off that I don't want to make. Right? These parties and the gambling, the dollar gambling, all the prop
Quarters,
bets, all the crazy squares and stuff that you do at these parties, the food. I mean, now that I'm older and some of my friends have some wherewithal and some cash in their pockets, these parties are off the chain. I don't want to miss
bathrooms.
I'm going to miss the party and you're standing most of the game, right? Because nobody wants to sit down when they, even though they bought the seat, they're not going to use it very often. So I don't know. Somebody's going to have to call in and convince me that being at the Super... Now, if the Lions made the game, all bets are off. Everything I just said, you can flush right down the toilet because we're getting a second mortgage. I'm figuring out how to be in the stadium, and I'm probably going to have more than just me, right? Because my wife is going to demand to be with me and many others. So, yeah, if Dan Campbell finds a way, that thing moves up the list, but right now it's number 3.
I dig it. I'm going with College World Series next.
What?
Yeah, College World Series.
We're not talking Little League World Series. We're not in Williamsport.
Correct.
Williamsport,
Pennsylvania. No, this is College World Series. This is Omaha, Nebraska, baby. And this thing used to be at Rosenblatt Stadium, of course.
That was the famous locale.
The famous locale with the short porch and, of course, the aluminum bats and everything was juiced. But this town, fortunate enough to go to the 2012 College World Series, the first year it moved from Rosenblatt over to the, I forget the stadium now, DT Waterhouse Stadium.
All right, speed it up because I'm already bored with the College World Series. You got to be shitting
Dude,
me.
they rent houses. LSU rents houses every year. They booked that they're going to be there.
Okay, so we're really here for whatever that NIL girl is from LSU. She was there with Paul Skeens. You going to tell me some story about Olivia, what's her name, and Paul Skeens? And what tabloid thing happened here that gets me interested in the College World Series?
It's a week and a half party, baseball all day long. Omaha's a sleeper town. Killer steakhouse.
Well, baseball's a sleeper sport. Have you watched it lately?
Well, listen.
You've seen this game, right?
I love the game. And so, yes, you have to. But this is another where the party the World Series, and it's a long stretch.
I can watch the World Series and the playoffs on television because they do such a great job with the close-ups in the dugout and the drama of it. The cameramen in the World Series are probably the best cameramen in sports. They capture every ounce of the drama. So I can agree with you when it comes to playoff baseball. I haven't seen the College World Series done that way, but if they're shooting it that way, I'm willing to give it another chance. Last time I checked in,
you gotta be there. You gotta be there. You gotta feel Omaha. You gotta taste the steak.
I do like Omaha. It is a good town. Yes. Planked, the seafood joint, love that place.
Okay, I'll have to get that on the list.
All right, I'll give that to you. My number 2 harkens back to where we were in the Big Ten rundown when we ran down the list. My number 2 is the game. Michigan versus Ohio State. At the Big House, obviously, because that is in my backyard. This last chapter of it 2 years ago, during the national championship season, was completely epic in every sense of the word. I mean, you had all the drama, all the outside the boundaries, all the Harbaugh controversy, Ryan Day and the Ohio State alumni, crying about people. This whole cheating thing, again, for people who don't, if you have a smart device and you are in the stands, you can video from the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 15th, 23rd. With any focal length, you can videotape everything that the other sideline is doing. This whole thing is a charade that anybody cares about taping people's... Everybody's been doing this for as long as that anybody has ever been in a stadium. Do I think Michigan should have bought tickets to games and done stupid things like that? No, but they got their slap on the wrist for that, and Stallions got fired and other people. That's what they deserve. The punishment meets the crime in this case. I don't want to hear about. So getting back to the game. The game is amazing. Yeah. I will say, because I don't want to seem like I'm just a homer here. During that chapter of the game that I'm speaking of, the Michigan fans, absolutely unacceptable behavior against the Ohio State fans. This is the same garbage, and that was 2 years ago. And the Michigan fans were absolutely degenerate towards the Ohio State fans. I don't like that either way. But the game itself, the atmosphere, absolutely phenomenal. The game, to me, is about as high on the totem pole as you can get.
Yeah, hard to argue with that, man. I mean, especially feeling it close to home, been there, seen it, and felt the whole deal and tasted it. My next one is the Masters. Augusta, Georgia. A tournament founded by Bobby Jones and some other guy whose name I forgot, some businessman. Bobby Jones, one of the greatest golfers of all time, and he never turned pro. Stayed an amateur his entire career. Really?
Because it wasn't gentlemanly enough. Because he had a law degree already, and he was doing something serious with his life. Okay? Love the Bobby Jones story. Elite level atmosphere and a lot of quirkiness. Like, why did you choose the Masters?
I chose it because it's just so clean and classy and classic, and you don't see outbursts there, and it's a beautiful course, and it's the top event of the year in golf in the United States and North America. The green jacket, the pimento sandwiches, the dollar ice cream sandwiches, like everything's just traditional. I love the tradition of it. I love.
Isn't that funny? Like all the food, everything is super high priced as far as like the pro shop is concerned. And then you get out to the course, and from what I hear, the food's all like $1, $2.
Yeah, the food's, which I love that.
And it's supposed to be great.
Foodies like you and me go crazy over something like that. So the fact that you can just go to an event, it is well maintained, and the authorities there have kept things under control from everything I've ever remembered.
Everybody who I talk to who goes to it is super impressed by the professionalism of the way it's laid out and everything. So what's your number one?
My number one is the NCAA football championship game.
The NCAA football championship game.
The national championship.
We don't know what to call it anymore.
Yeah.
Really, the natty.
It's the natty.
Is the slang.
The college football natty.
With NIL, the portal, and a 17-team playoff or whatever they're going to go with next. We don't know what to call it. We're still 12 teams, by the way. Mm-hmm. I would agree with you. I think that the college football championship, if my teams, right, number one, the Oklahoma Sooners, if the Oklahoma Sooners get back, I'm not going to miss it. That's for sure. That one needs to be qualified by who's in the game for me. My number one, though, is going to stay in that same sphere of influence, but it's a very specific sphere. It's Oklahoma versus Texas, the Red River War. Which falls every weekend, the same weekend as the Texas State Fair. So the festivities are amplified 10x. They play it at the Cotton Bowl in Dallas, right? Or the Jerry World, whatever they're going to do now next. But yeah, Oklahoma gives up a home game every year.
Really?
So before you start thinking about, right? So I shouldn't say that. Every other year they would have the home game in this series. And they play it in Texas every single year, the same weekend as the Texas State Fair. So remember that. When you look back at the greatness of the Oklahoma Sooners, they've been giving up a home game to Texas every other year since the beginning of time, and they still have all the natties, and they still have the longest winning streak in the history of college football.
That's pretty cool. That's off the cuff a bit. I will say, this is not a home game for Texas. They're from Austin.
True. They got to drive an hour.
So they're but yeah, to your point, I mean, it is in their home state. They're going to have the advantage
every year.
And now
they don't get the tickets advantage. They split the tickets 50-50.
Okay.
Right. But obviously more Oklahoma people don't travel. So more Oklahoma people sell the tickets, and you end up with a orange leaning crowd.
Yeah.
Most cases.
It's a good top 10, my man.
That's so again, if we're running it back, mine was Tigers opening day, going from 5, Stanley Cup Finals. Number 3 is the Super Bowl. If the Lions are in it, it goes to number 1. Michigan versus Ohio State. The game is my number 2 fan experience, and the Red River War, Texas versus Oklahoma, with the Texas State Fair in Dallas every year, is my number 1. Chad Bush.
Indy 500 NASCAR is number 5.
Indy 500 or NASCAR, you merged them both together there.
I put them together.
You can't do that. They're two different sports.
Which one's
two different
better?
leagues. I go for the party, Indy 500. Gary Cousineau, shout out.
All right. Indy 500 is my number 5. College World Series, number 4.
Omaha.
Omaha. NBA Finals is number 3. Ryder Cup's number 2, and Masters is number 1.
Yeah, I think I win that one. I think I win the battle. I think my 5 are better than your 5. Of course, I'm the host, so I get that privilege.
You win.
But you did us a great honor. You brought the Detroit Rock City shirt in here. You're a silver fox in more ways than one. You came in, you brought your A game. And for those of you out there behind the glass, I want to thank Johnny and our whole team here at Speakeasy. This is the Goat Quest podcast. I want you, each and every one of you, to go out there this week and be the GOAT at whatever it is you're doing today.